Hey?
Hello everybody.
More staples. Could I have some more staples? Have some more staples. No staples.
With only 3 days to go to the AGM, the excitement here at Sigler House is hotting up.
Exactly. Bad idea.
That's what it is.
I don't like it!
Why did I decide to stuff the EBJ weekend?
I don't know.
Welcome to Skeet.
Just take anything. It certainly is.
Welcome to Skeet.
Lovely. What more can I say?
What? Yeah, when they come down.
There's the 3 of us who...
You're not supposed to go over that. Musical chair.
Alright, welcome everyone to the weekend.
Oh, gee, thanks.
I'm your first weekend. It's my first EBJ weekend. So.
But it's not your first weekend. You said it. I have.
Okay, I just want to say a few things. In a couple of minutes we're going to go in there and light candles to shove out. It's almost shove out now. There's obviously not many of us this weekend, so we want to make this as cosy and as pleasant as that, if you see what I mean. It shouldn't be a case of leaders are going to be running around after everyone saying, come to this and do that. Alright, we're all together on this, so let's have a good time.
Leaders,
And
members can lead, and the
leaders can amend. No real rules apart from, I mean... Can I finish? There's a couple more people coming later. Beverly's coming down to bring my friend Danielle with us, so make sure there's some room left for them.
Cynthia is true. That's all I'm going to say.
Her head is very down to where you're sitting.
No, I'm not going to say anything.
Couple more things. Claire.
Fair enough.
I just want to, you might not all know all of them.
1,
Sorry, Hazel.
Like to and what we'll do is, obviously, to make it easier, we will start from the back and come forward. Okay? Otherwise, the flames will. That's right. Okay, fine. Shabbat candles. Why do we like Shabbat candles?
To show that it lasted for 8 hours instead of...
No, that's the other one. Come on, then try again.
8 days.
Can I just say something as well, that once you've lit the Shabbat candles, they shouldn't be used for anything. You can't light something from a Shabbat candle.
Can't light.
And also...
These aren't mine.
Just focus on the two candles you lit, and just around it you can see a site which is, I'm finding right now, really special, because this is our weekend. We're one group together. It's a really beautiful site. I've actually never seen anything like this before. It's just an idea that we had, and it's really special, and I hope this reflects our really special Shabbat together. If you know the Shabbat bracha, then please join in, and we'll welcome in Shabbat together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'hotzi banu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shalom. We're bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom. stuff. Your turn.
David, Robert, Neil, Nikki,
I think the solution would be to place them both together.
Right, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around and give your limbs a number. Right, okay, you must remember the number, okay? If you don't remember it, it's stupid. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll give you a number. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66,
You start
Right, now, when I call your number out, I want you to join, those two numbers have got to join in the centre of the room here. And of course, as it gets more complicated, it gets more complicated. Right, 73, 74, 75, 76. Okay?
Why not?
Okay, let's remember those numbers, 73, 74, 75, 76. Okay, number 36 and number 18. Just identify what they are. What's 36? What's 36? Right, and 18? Right, Gary, you better get down. You actually have to hold a leg. You have to hold it. Well, you can put the boss in there. Okay, right, and we start building up. You'll get the idea very, very shortly. Okay, number 3 and number 52. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. You'll get the idea. 52 and 3. 63. What is it? Should be the leg. 63 and 10. 63 and 10. 63 and 10. 38 and 72. I'm playing bingo, this isn't it? Okay, number 14 and number 56.
14.
Who's 56? Who's 56? 14 and 56.
Great time for the fire drill.
14 and 56 linked.
We have to.
Good, very good. 33 and 70.
No, it isn't me.
33 and 70.
I've only got 76.
33 and 70. Who's 70? Link up, please. You're there. Help her, help her. 39. Where's 39? Who's 39? 39. And
You tell.
say you do. I can't remember what numbers you are. 17.
Alright, sure,
76. And 1.
Where's one? Somebody take 76. Thank you. I can't hold it up. David, you're a sadist.
31.
What is this? A yoga? What number is it, Dave?
45. You can do it. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay. 28, 47.
You're joking.
It's possible.
I'm foolish. It's my left leg. It's not my leg.
Has anybody got a saw?
Okay. 9:62. We're nearly there. 68:32.
I've still got 2 weeks left. So 68. Well, I'm standing on. I'm standing on 28.
6 and 44. 6 and 44. You gotta do it. 6 and 44.
You're the only one that's enjoying this.
Come on, come on. Shuffle your buttons, move your buttons. Come on, Betty, move your leg.
This is calculation for you.
That's it, now move it. Move it. Come on.
Right. 54 and 20. 54 and 20. Who is it? Where's Joe? Where is it? Joe, how you doing? Joe, how you doing?
I think he's subconscious actually. He's suffocated.
Right, 54 and 20. Ladies and gentlemen, you have completed. You haven't quite completed.
Look at this leg.
Act 3, murder the leader.
If you just stare at the lights, you actually see something very special. Just focus on 2 lights.
If you look at, seriously, look into his glasses.
I'll tell you where to look from. Because out of the kitchen and look through the door. It looks really nice. Because when you lot were playing and I came out to get a drink, just look through the door. It's really nice. Go out there look, and just looking from over there.
From here?
Yeah. Go actually.
You know, go to school in the morning, it rain. Still, bundled off to shore. No rain came. So went back to the rabbi and they said, Rabbi, you told us that if we go to shore, it will rain. And it didn't. So the rabbi says, oh, you know these rabbis say, oh. He says, go to shore 5 minutes early and do some studying 5 minutes earlier.
Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Okay, if you want to turn over, we're going to come to Kiddush.
sometime today.
Someone help me sometime today.
ready today.
How long we got to play?
Mate, I can't believe you saved me saying you filmed me on the function.
They just don't trust me. I mean, whatever I do, they're always like looking.
What do you mean they don't trust you?
They don't trust me. I mean, like if they left me in the house on my own, I'll blow it up. You know, silly things like that. That's the sort of thing I give them the impression of. I don't know. It's like I've been grounded before for obviously for being like nasty to them, like having a go at them, and they've like, told me don't want anyone here, don't be going out and things, and I've had people around, and just little silly things like that, which really build up in the end to a big row and a big argument. And at the moment they're just beginning to trust me, but I'm grounded at the moment, and I'm lucky I'm here. I'm lucky I'm here this weekend. It's because I had my ear pierced.
But have you bought it on yourself? I went all the way upstairs. No, seriously, have you bought it on yourself?
Oh yeah.
My sister went to West and my mum went out for dinner.
But I know that I am trustworthy, and I really want to prove to them, but I do silly things which are really totally irrelevant.
Right now I can't meet you. I'll be home before 11:30 at night. So I went over to his house, and I was telling you more people about school, how I hated it and not cry my eyes out, not down and stuff. So he goes there, gets a bottle of Thunderbirds, and we get absolutely slaughtered. So time's going, come on. Got to get you sober. We're going on trains. He's about 40 minutes. And we've got to get on the train back to Seven Kings from Stamford Hill. Who's this? My dad's best mate. You. So slowly sobering up on the way home. Yeah, slowly sobering up. And we get there, like, my mum and dad's home already, and I'm going, because they didn't know the hell where I was. My dad grabbed me, jumped me out of the cab, because we've got a cab from Barking Station back to my house. And he beat me out. He didn't actually. The reason why I had a right good hitting for me, which is a good reason, didn't know where I was.
But were you still with his man?
Yeah, I still with his man. And then I've been bad, and I was lucky to go and see him.
That girl thing with that girl really made me realise how lucky that we all are. Because she's such an unhappy child. Yeah. And I learnt so much from that day because, like, my dad, like, has got his habit of talking to me and Daniel, because when we came back from Israel.
Yes,
I don't give up trying.
And it's gonna be a long night of night.
This is and what we're going to do is we're going to construct some sort of a sketch, whatever you want to do. So let's read you up on this line. I've got like a life story. Okay? Right. That was a nice read it.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And God decided to speak. Now just God decided.
Flood. No, where's been on the up?
The serpent comes up and tells Eve to have this apple.
Wait.
Ready to go? Should we go for the way, baby? As far as the street sand.
We've had the world created, we've had things growing on it, and we've got these things running about on top of it. And now we're going to see what these things get up to. Starting off with the first ones, and what did they get up to? We're going to see right now, presenting the story of Adam and Eve. Thank you.
Okay.
As
we all know, on the seventh day, God rested. The reason why he had to rest, what really knocked him out, was that he had to make man. So he made man, and later from man he made woman. The man was named Adam, or Adam. The woman was named Hava, or Eve in English. And he put them in a beautiful garden he called Gan Eden.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Hello, serpent. Pardon? What was that? I didn't quite catch it. You want me to? No, I can't. I can't take that apple on the trees. It's not permissible. It wasn't meant for me. No, I really. Well, it does. Yeah, you're right. It does look nice. Okay, if you promise, it's not the same thing. Right. Oh, darling, hello.
Oh, good day to you. What have you got there?
It's a fruit. Isn't it wonderful?
That's right. I haven't seen one. Well,
It's got a beautiful colour.
yes. Where did you find?
It was on the tree.
Oh,
Taste.
Let me see.
Have some.
It looks.
Why are you hiding?
It was her fault. She made me do it. She took it.
Why are you hiding?
Because we're naked.
Who told you were naked?
The serpent. Well, look.
Have you eaten the fruit that I've forbidden?
Fruit that. Look. It was the serpent. Yeah, the serpent. The serpent told me to take the fruit. I told my husband to take the fruit. The serpent looked to me. Well, you know. Don't look at me.
Hava gives birth to two sons, Cain and Abel.
Hi, Kate. Look what I've got. Isn't she lovely? Stupid. If you had an attitude to life, it would be better.
Shakespearean death scene.
To be dead by
What have you done, Cain? Wait, no, that's not how it goes. Where's your brother Abel?
I'm not my brother's keeper.
What have you done?
I've done nothing.
Your brother's blood has cried out to me.
I don't know where he is.
Your punishment for killing your brother is that you must wander the world over.
Oh.
Does she look bothered? Look.
Did I make fruit?
Now to make more sound.
Couple of hours.
Oh, right. I thought Kane opened.
Oh, Adam was a good time book. On the quiet.
69, I think it was. It was called Methuselah.
Mel Brooks.
That's pretty old. And a few generations later, a man called Noah is born.
Noah.
You had the
Robert, Noah was a nice, quiet man.
Yes, he was a righteous. It was religious. I have tried very hard, Noah, to find more righteous people, but unfortunately I have not succeeded. So therefore I have decided to spare you and your family and your sons' families. You must build for me an ark. And into this ark you must take with you 7 pairs, male and female, of all clean animals, and 1 pair of all unclean animals found on the earth.
Okay, wifey. I want 7 pairs. Make them clean. 1 unclean, please. I'll do the art.
Equity.
Praise the whole thing. We're in the art. Good man. That's it, all done. Lambs!
Brilliant, the living content.
Stuffed.
That's it, that's the first one.
Black or green?
My symbol, the flag has passed, and my symbol to you, so that you will symbolise a covenant with the people, will be a rainbow.
Sounds a bastard. Everyone can sing it well. I can sing it.
I do not like what is going on, so therefore I will make you all speak different languages. The Tower of Babel will never be completed because you cannot communicate amongst each other.
Yeah.
Amen.
From, okay? The idea was that Noah was the father, if you like, of all the modern races, all the races that developed on the earth. So the very basis of Judaism is not an idea that there's different races and different races are better, okay? It's the idea that we all descend from the same root. And these 3 people went out of the ark and took their families.
Sorry.
Stories to show that man thought he was so mighty, thought he was so important, he could build a tower to reach God. So this is basically a story about how all the different peoples in the world developed and how all the different languages developed. Okay, so when they tried to build this tower, God said, that's it, no, man's getting too mighty again. This is too important. I'm going to confuse them, give them all different languages and send them out all over the globe. Okay, so the next stage of the Bible is another series of begettings and begettings, generations after generations, and the next important figure we come across in the Bible is Abraham, the father of the Jewish people. And also the father
With Abraham, there are many, many stories, some complex, some not so complex. On this particular day, the sun is beating down in the desert, and Abraham is recovering after a minor operation. When suddenly...
Flat. Hello. We are 3 travellers and we've been travelling a long way. We'd like We're very hungry and very fast. What's food? Yes, Abraham, yes, of course. What's the matter with you, Abraham?
Yes, what's the matter? Why are you sitting like
The other day, I went to the doctor's and he said, no, son, I've been speaking to God. And he said, you know, I think these Jewish men should have the top of their
Do you?
What?
What?
So we got circumcised.
you do that, what cut off?
Just a bit. How much is that? 6 inches.
Right, you got the inch left in the jar.
So what's this good faith you bring, mate?
Well, we've been speaking to God and he said in 9 months' time your wife will bear a little son.
Oh, that's...
Yes, it's the honest truth.
I don't believe you.
Don't have to base the truth. Anyway, we must be off now. Thank you
No,
for
we
your
must
hospitality.
Yeah.
Thank you, it's lovely.
No, I've been putting on a lot of weight recently, you know. I'm fat. No, we won't do that. No. Let's get out of that. Well, hadn't we better go to the doctor? Yes, I think you might be right, you know. Let's go to the doctors.
I think he was very good, God, letting us know. and
Yeah,
telling
you
us
were
about
very
children.
kind.
Well, I am a very kind being.
The name is God.
Why do they call me God?
Good
Yeah.
God.
Not just God, but God Almighty.
Next
Here's my God.
What a beautiful baby.
And baby, what's
As a side note, Abraham was also the father of his servant's child, who was
The maid.
Ishmael. And as we know, the line of Isaac was the Jewish people, and the line of Ishmael was that of the Arab people. So Abraham was the father of both.
They've already waited.
We come over here in a minute.
Take my baby.
So Isaac had grown up into Luan, into husband there, and had 2 sons, Jacob and Esau.
Oh, I've been out in the field all day. I'm so hungry. Really, I am. Please give me some soup. Please.
No.
Why not? Please, I'm so hungry. Give me some soup.
Okay, but only if you sell me your birthright.
Anything. Give me the soup.
Okay. Boys, come here.
Esau, you're such a good boy. You've been working so hard in the field. I think you're such a good boy. You're a really good son.
Jacob, I know that you're a really good son too. You cooked that soup so beautifully. Well done. Thank you. You're such a good boy to me. Several years later. How are you feeling today, Isaac? Esau, your father wants to see you. Your father wants to see you.
Sit down, Esau. You know, I'm growing old. I can barely see. And I'm going to die soon. Oh, don't do that.
Don't die.
Shush. I'm going to die. I want you to go out to the field and find a venison deer for me to bless you. I'll do anything for you.
Hey, Jacob, come here, quick!
Sheila, I've just overheard that your father is going to bless Esau and give him the blessing for the firstborn, even though that Esau sold it to you all those years ago. So what I want you to do is go out and get deer. I'll prepare it for you, and we'll pretend that you're Esau, and you'll get the blessing. Quick, go! Right, okay, you got it. Right, we prepared it. Right, I'm going to put the deer on
It's
your
what I
hands.
prepared earlier.
So you so you'll be nice and hairy too, just in case he suspects. Right, go in there.
Esau, is that you?
Yes.
You have the arms of Esau, but the voice of Jacob. I will now bless you. Bless you.
I got it.
Esau then finds out that, in fact, his father had blessed Jacob instead of him, and he is...
You gave the blessing to Jacob!
Esau. Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. There's nothing to do about it now. I'm sorry.
Why not?
Jacob realises that Esau is going to be very angry and runs off to Uncle Laban in Haran. On the way, though, he lies down to sleep. And then he has a dream about angels running up and down ladders. At the end of it, God says to Jacob,
I will give the same promise to you as I gave to Jacob. As I gave to Abraham and Isaac.
Then he rushes off to Uncle Laban.
There's a family resemblance there, isn't there?
I want to marry Uncle to Rachel. You have to work for 7 years and then you can marry Rachel. 7 years tough. Come on.
Okay, this is at the chuppah.
Break the glass.
Mazel tov. Jacob suddenly lifts up the veil.
Oh my God, it's Leia.
Because the custom in those days was that the elder daughter got married before the younger daughter.
Well, Jacob, you have to work another 7 years and then you can marry Rachel.
This Jacob did.
And now I know Rachel.
He then married Rachel. And they had lots and lots of children, 12 in fact. Jacob decided that he'd been in Haran for a long time and he wanted to go back to Canaan. He wanted to go back to Canaan. So he decided that he would take his wives, Leah, Rachel, Bilhah and Zilpah, and his 12 children, and all his cattle and sheep that he'd collected in the 20 years he'd worked, and he decided to go back to Canaan from Haran. Before he went to sleep, he was thinking about how he was going to greet Esau. He hadn't seen his brother for 20 years, and when he left, his brother had been very angry. There were 3 things that he could do before he met his brother Esau.
I know what I should do. I should divide my animals and cattle into 2, and if Esau tries to attack me, I still have some left.
The second thing he could do was pray to God. The other thing he decided to do...
I know, if it doesn't work, I think I'll give him some presents just to calm him down a bit.
And he lay down to sleep. In the middle of the night, an angel came along. And a struggle ensued. The angel said afterwards,
Jacob, you won. That was a test. And now I'm going to change your name into Israel.
Deceived his brother to get the birthright. He'd gone away for 20 years. He had a lot to think about. He had a lot on his conscience. Okay, and he came back, and this test, it was being portrayed in the form of a fight. Okay, it was a great test from God. He's obviously overcome everything, all his guilty conscience, all the guilt he's felt for what he's done, and he's come out. He's come out the other side. He's passed the test. So God has named him He That Struggles With God. That was his new name. He struggled, and he's overcome all the barriers, whatever they were. Okay? Alright, and this is the theme that we picked to be the central theme of this weekend. The idea of struggling. Whatever sort of struggle it is. Struggle for our identity. In particular, our Jewish identity. And this is what we want to talk about this weekend, and particularly now. What I'd like you to do is to go back in your 4 groups, which you did little plays with. Okay? Give the leaders a few helpful points for discussion. We're going to talk about struggle. Dilemmas, different things that we can face in our life. What sort of struggles? What are the important struggles? What are the things to be faced up to and got through in life? Okay. What are the things important to you at your stage in life at the moment? What have you got to struggle through? What dilemmas have you got to face? And how do we best face up to them? Okay, so if you can get into your 4 groups, if you could stay in here and just go to different corners.
There you go.
It's really interesting. I'll take
I don't think that's someone and you really
If you
love
do
it.
something, if you want to do something, say you want to do something like
No.
I can't. I've got no choice.
No, wait a minute.
Well,
I
I want to be.
Would you go out?
He says very significant.
My mum says
The way we see our
it's
child
going.
is what
Is it because of Skeet?
Your mum.
What makes it so different? Because
sometimes our physical appearances cause us to change the way we feel about ourselves.
A skill behind
What way did you change your appearance?
That's why.
Yeah, but if you're really good at it, to get back to the train, you know, you love things.
It's really, really like hurts me.
Because I know
So after changing your appearance, you've got more self-confidence.
I just want to do it.
Was it difficult to decide to have your
You said I want it because my parents.
If someone could just say very briefly the sort of things you're talking about, sum up what you were saying. Karen, fill it up.
We discussed about reading Jewish Herald on a train.
Jewish Chronicle.
Jewish Herald.
Same thing.
What reactions we had. And personally, our group think that we can read it, what other people say. We don't care if we we discussed keeping kosher in the house and buying it from butchers, or if you want to, if your parents keep a kosher house but you want, if your parents keep a non-kosher house but you want to keep kosher, how can we try and persuade them to keep kosher? Staying in the house on Friday night, what would you do if there's something you really wanted to do on Friday evening, going out? Or there's another one, if going on a ski trip to in Pesa, would you leave your family doing Pesa? Would you do what your family wanted, or would you do what you wanted? Or would you go out with a non-Jewish boy? What would you?
Got through a lot. Things there. Just to come back on the kashrut point, just an interesting thing from last week, the Kochavim weekend, where I was sitting eating Viennas and it is kosher. No, it is. Of course it is. It's Jewish people running it and all that. And then one of them turns around to me and says, "I want to keep kosher, but my mum takes me to McDonald's and makes me eat Big Macs." And I didn't know what to say to that. It was really quite amazing.
It's a hard one.
It is a hard one. I just wanted to mention that. It was like a little kid who was 6 years old, wanted to keep kosher. And his mother basically makes him. She said she makes me eat Big Macs. So
eat your Viennas, it makes you a good goalie.
if you eat Viennas, you become a good goalkeeper as well. This is another of the theories.
The man who runs Woodrow House in Standard.
Yeah.
And then afterwards he goes, I didn't get that thing about if you eat Viennas.
That's great.
We were talking about trying to struggle to be your own identity, like not to be your mum's, not to be your mum's child or your dad's child. You want to be your own self. You don't want to be your husband's person. Do you know what I mean? You want to be yourself. And you've got to like a lot in life is trying to prove to your parents that you can be what you want to be, not what they want to make you be. And we're also talking about death, the struggling with like thinking about when your parents are going to die, like it's a horrible thing to talk about. But when they're going to die, that what it's going to be like, and deja vu and all this we're talking about.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Alright, that's good.
Danielle.
Danielle said.
Danielle. Hey, I'm so alright. We were talking about.
No clues.
Oh, sorry. We're talking about would you go out like with a non-Jewish person, and like what would your parents think and everything? We're talking about if your parents were going to emigrate to Israel and you didn't want to go, like what would you do about Oh yeah, and then if like you left home and your parents like tried like wanted you to come home, so they made you a big meal and everything, but it was non-kosher and you didn't eat non-kosher meat, they made you pork and everything, and we're discussing like if we would eat it or if we wouldn't, and would a meal cost us losing our friendship with our parents? That's it.
We would think having
Oh yeah.
Jewish person would be married.
Oh yeah, friend that non-Jewish person we married.
Stuff that wasn't on the
Oh yeah.
I said that to you.
And if like we were from and our friends came over McDonald's, like what would we say to them if they weren't Jewish? Like how would we explain to them?
And also
And they can't come in.
Also would you go out with a black person that was Jewish?
Oh yeah, would you go out with a black Jew?
Would you go out with a black person that wasn't Jewish?
And
oh yeah, and would you start to get one after a bit?
oh yeah, if you went out with like a non-Jewish person or a black person, would you start to get rowed
And
after
it
6
goes
months?
on and on.
And we think about it.
Quite a lot of identity in ourselves, individual.
Sam.
Just really discussing problems we've had in the past with stuff, just giving very silly examples and telling each other how we struggled through them and came out on top because we've actually persevered with it and brought out our own identity. Generally it.
Well, you can get them out, talk about them,
Yes,
think about them, deal with them.
Yeah, we in the group we also said, has anyone ever had a situation where because of their identity if they had a problem? Nicole came up and I think you Nicole. She's not going to say it.
This is a joke I'm trying to avoid.
No, me and my mum went on holiday. I think it was Amsterdam, I'm not sure. Like, there's loads of Arabs there and German people, and we'd heard a lot of stories from people who was there that if you wore your Star of David or they found out you was Jewish, that in like very rare cases they'd hit you or they'd rip it off your neck. So we had to take off our Magen-Davids and like leave them in the hotel for about 3 weeks, and we couldn't wear when we went out because it weren't safe to wear them. Yeah, because it was like a holiday time during the summer holidays, and that was all Jewish people, it was all Germans and Arabs.
Okay, we're going to be talking about these things and many more for the rest of the weekend. It's good, I'm glad to see you're all really into talking about it and getting it out in the open. That's really good. Alright, we're going to have a break for about 10 minutes and we're going to come back in here for on Egg Shabbat.
Oh no? What?
On Egg Shabbat.
You'll find out.
You find out.
Done on EBJ weekends when we have an egg that we sing, perhaps we'd have some readings and things like that. Generally we enjoy the singing. That's last Sunday on Friday night. Okay? Now we're going to start off.
Do we need our readings here now?
We did say that. We did say that. Bring your readings.
And then we'll have the morning service, which your group will sort out. Do the reading, so I'll put the centre scenes in the middle. I might put on my big beard and give a sermon.
What?
Have you found it?
I'll see what.
Did you find a beard?
I'm going to move for it. That's who else. There hasn't somewhere.
Did you find your beard? Lee! Yeah, it's beard reported from the
Right, then futsal.
Really
Got the
important
details
session.
on here.
It's a really important session in the futsal at 12 o'clock.
It's the struggle.
It's really when you can start elaborating on the struggle of that they have. So it's like it could get quite personal actually if it goes that way. But it's about their struggles as adolescents. But tying it in, it's on the sheet how to do it.
I think it'd be really good.
Yeah. But you must tie in with the Cedra. I mean, tonight would be a waste of time unless we tie in with the Cedra. There's just no point. But you just got to remember that. If you miss that link tomorrow at 12 o'clock, it's not a waste of time, but it'd just be fucking shame. Sorry, I didn't say that.
Don't make the link just to. I don't think the link should be made just to. For the sake of it. Don't make it tenuous things. We're talking about struggle. And of course Jacob had a struggle once upon a time. Don't just throw in the link for its own sake. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean?
Can we discuss the afternoon after lunch?
Robert Madison, Skeet House.
Right. First lunch is the meal in the middle of the day. And then we're having a walk. Having a walk. Who's got a mat?
Don't need a mat, just go out and walk.
Alright.
Come back again.
Communications game. David will explain that.
Geisha Salmeo.
Oh, look, it's so romantic.
Can you get the mayonnaise moving, please?
Oh, you made it.
I think mayonnaise.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
Where's the tea monitor?
Who's man?
I didn't recognize you. Yes, you Making love in the afternoon, Cecilia. I got up to wash my face for someone saving myself. Right.
Excuse me, I'm from the BBC.
Hello.
We just like to answer some questions. We're doing a documentary.
Yes, no, that's right.
No comment, no comment.
No, it's okay. I have nothing to
Stop gossiping! Please.
We're going to have a Shabbat service.
Woo!
Nicole. We're going to go to a futsal to prepare for it. One futsal is going to get the shul ready. Another futsal is going to prepare a little playlet on the Seder of the week. And the other group is going to do the readings and songs for the service. And we'll all come together and put it together and have a chat, Nicole. And have a Shabbat morning service.
Nicky, why's your bill out there?
That's a very good question. You should have
Why
been here
is
earlier.
that part of the
Alright,
decoration?
Kachol group are in here. Excuse me. Hey, no pictures. No pictures.
Shabbos!
Cameras.
David.
Turn it up.
Is that a word called Shabbos? Tell us.
Sorry.
Well, what can I say?
Wow.
Shabbos. Every week there's Shabbos.
You want this?
It's not Sarah's writing, is it?
No, you tend to do that.
Oh, David! Latest interview about it. She came to
Well, the Shekhinah is supposed to be a woman, you know that.
Yeah? Great.
Shekhinah is the feminine manifestation of God.
I will praise the
She goes into man and woman when they're
Thank you.
sex.
Thank you.
Is what starts the life process as a woman.
Now, Rabbi, advise us, Rabbi.
Teach us.
Teach us. Tell us, Rabbi. What should we do?
I think we just sit down.
On the floor, Rabbi?
Sit down.
On the chair.
On the chair. Rebbe, quiet for the Rebbe. Quiet for the Rebbe, please. Quiet for the Rebbe. Rebbe, please advise us. Tell us what to do.
Where's the chazan?
Where's the chazan? Where's the chazan? You mean the chazan?
The chazan has a sore throat today.
The chazan is here.
He was shrieking his kishkazalt. He has no voice.
I thought I saw something somewhere.
Rabbi. Rabbi.
Young David. Nice to see so many young people in shul. Who's first? Well, I didn't prepare the service.
It's up to the group that prepared the service.
Right.
We did.
Who?
We did.
Did they prepare structure for us?
Marty Finkeltown is on his way down.
Yes, somebody's been drinking the water from the mikvah. This must stop.
Isn't there a tap outside?
Oh, what, are we going to break it off?
As for me, in the abundance of your loving kindness, will I come into your house. I will worship towards your holy temple in the fear of you. Into the house of God we will walk with the throng. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. As for me, in the abundance of your loving kindness, will I come into your house. I will worship towards your holy temple in the fear of you. Lord, I love the habitation of your house, and the place where your glory dwells. As for me, I will worship and bow down. I will bend the knee before thee, Lord, my Maker. And as for me, may my prayer unto you, O Lord, be in an acceptable time. O God, in the abundance of your loving kindness, answer me in the truth of salvation.
Can everybody turn to page 31, please? Page 31.
In Israel a shining may you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen us, O Lord, and keep us from the stranger's way. May God bless you and grant you long. May the Lord of millions have a prayer for you. May God keep you and shield you from straining years and always care for you. May the Lord protect and defend. May the Lord protect and defend. May the Lord preserve you from pain. May the Lord preserve you from pain. Favor us, O happiness and happiness. So hear us at the prayer.
Shabbat is a time for resting after the week's work, but Shabbat is also a time for evaluating our relationship with the world around us. Once we go, we have an opportunity to slow down, to breathe deeply, to look at ourselves, to think about ourselves as people, and just do it. We're dashing once again back into the world of work.
Rise and shine and give God your glory, children of the world. The Lord said to Noah there's going to be a flood and to get the children out of the mud. Noah built him. He built him an ark, built out of hickory bark. The animals, they came in by twos. Drove those animals. It rained upon for 40 days, drove those animals nearly crazy. The sun came out and dried up the land. Everything was fine and dandy, children of the Lord. Last left our stories. Jacob was returning to the land of Canaan. After a 20-year absence with him were his 2 wives and his 2 handmaidens, his 11 sons, 1 daughter, all of his servants, and a heap of cattle and sheep.
Alright, fellas, here's a letter to my brother Esau. It tells him that I did well in the land of our uncle Laban, and that I bring him many gifts. Hopefully he will have forgotten the little disagreement we had before I left.
What little disagreement was that, sir?
I stole his birthright and then disguised myself to receive his inheritance blessing from our father Isaac.
Do you really think he will have forgotten?
No, but let's not worry.
But sir, Esau is known as a powerful warrior with bloodthirsty method of destroying his enemies. He's feared as being merciless, a killer.
Must you try so hard to cheer me up? Send a message.
And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, You came to your brother Esau, and moreover, he comes to meet you with 400 men.
I guess he's still a little sore. What should I... I guess he's still a little sore. What shall I do? I have it. I'll pray to God for help. Oh God of Abraham and Isaac, deliver me from Esau. Don't let him hurt me or my family. Oh Lord, don't let him hurt the children. I'll do anything. And remember you told me that my offspring will be as numerous as the sand of the sea. Oh please tell me you remember your promise. Please, please, please.
Are you right, sir?
Of course I am. My whole life is crumbling. We may not be alive tomorrow. Do you have the gifts for Esau already?
She goes 200, he goes 20, use 200, rounds 20. And for good measure, we threw in some camels, bulls, cows and donkeys.
Hopefully Esau will see all these gifts and be pleased when I approach.
After what you did to him, seeing his birthright.
I'm glad all my service is so comforting and encouraging.
Scene 3.
And Jacob arose that night, and he took his 2 wives and his 2 handmaidens and his 11 sons and passed over the Jabbok. He took them and sent them over the stream and sent over that which he had, and Jacob was left alone.
Who goes there?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Peniel Auditorium.
Round of applause, come on!
The timekeeper at the bell is Angel Michael. The doctor at the ringside is Dr. Harvey Shapiro.
Hey!
My name is Dave Collins. The main event is scheduled for 2 hours or the curfew at dawn. In this corner, is an angel of the Lord.
Yes! That was good.
And in this corner is slightly bewildered Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay, come out fighting. Ding!
That's just the boxer shorts.
title.
Yeah,
Go for the title.
And the angel has touched the hollow. That was very close, wasn't it? Of Jacob's thigh.
the belt.
And it looks as though his thigh. And my God Almighty, it looks as though his thigh is hurt.
Jacob, let go of me! You can have this title. As a matter of fact, I shall give you a new name. It shall be Israel. If you have striven with God and with men prevailed.
And the sun rose, and Jacob looked upon his thigh. That is why the children of Israel do not eat the meat of an animal's vein, which is in the hollow of the thigh.
Scene.
Jacob, you look like you've been in a fight. Have you seen Esau?
Esau?
He's right in front of us with his 400 men.
Don't look now, sir, but he's fighting right towards you. Esau! Hello!
Jacob, relax. Good to see you.
And Esau embraced Jacob and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they both wept.
It's so good to still be alive. Let me introduce you to my 4 wives and 11 sons.
Hi everyone, I'm your Uncle Esau. Jacob, I do not need your gifts. I have plenty.
Please keep them as a sign of my gratitude.
As you wish, my brother. Now that you have returned, come and make your home near me.
You go on ahead, Esau. The women and children move so slowly, you know. I have a job offer in the neighbourhood. I'll keep in touch.
Scene. No, the final scene. Now, this is Joel's big part, everybody, so really concentrate. Go on, Poppy.
Notice the sign.
Jacob, this is the Lord.
I am here.
Your name is Israel. It shall not longer.
Take 2.
Your name is Israel. Your name is Israel. It shall no longer be Jacob.
You heard about the match?
You are great, Jacob, and now be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall come of thee. The land I gave to Abraham and Isaac I shall give to you and your children.
And Jacob built an altar there and called it Bethel. On the way to Ephrath, Rachel went into labour. She was in hard labour, but the midwife said, "Fear not, for it is a son." The child was called Benjamin, and Rachel died. Jacob set up a pillar on the road to Ephrath as Rachel's grave, and she's there to this day.
And later, Isaac.
Wait, what?
He was 180! Esau and Jacob, his sons, bullied him, buried him, Esau became the head of the Edomite nation. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of children. Next week we continue with the Sedra of Vayeshev.
In a shul near you.
In a shul near you. Shabbat
we must struggle. Every day. Every action we do. We must do it with a good heart. We must do it with love in our hearts. And with God in our minds. And righteousness on our lips. Because if we don't, it is an unholy act that we do. At every point in our lives we must struggle. We must take our base instincts, our base emotions, our negative feelings, and transform them through prayer, through devotion, with our hearts, and turn it into love. Acts of loving kindness and righteousness. This is what the Torah teaches us. So, when you think of struggle, don't think of your everyday things. Don't think of having to struggle to get out of bed, or you have to struggle through maths this afternoon. Any of those things, they're not important. What's important is being a good person, being a righteous person. And every time that you act, think what's the best thing to do. What's the right thing to do? That's the real struggle that faces us, my friends. And it's not easy. It's never an easy struggle. It's a long struggle. And it's a hard struggle. And together, with God's will, we can do it.
This is the prayer that's said in shul every week, which is basically for everybody who's here. Now he who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, bless everybody here, together with their wives, their sons and daughters, and all that belong to them. Those also who establish synagogues for prayers, and those who enter therein to pray. Those who give lights for lighting, and wine for Kiddush and Havdalah, bread for Hamotzi, and charity for the poor, and all such as occupy themselves in faithfulness with the wants of the congregation.
Keeps a dreaming along, keeps a dreaming along. What we do when we least than we want. With heart and earth can build a house. Where we came from the ends of the earth. To lend a hand in this hour of birth. We'll plough, we'll sow, we'll hammer and we'll nail. We'll work all day till the
start again. He looked. Wait a minute. He looked them in.
He looked them in.
You through and through.
You through and through.
Come back, Calvin.
Forget it.
Forgive him.
We know that Judaism is full of symbolism. The breaking out of bondage is typical of the story of the Jews.
Hey, Nikki, there's an extra bed in our room.
So you will have to be tied down.
I want a picture of all the Legos.
Go on, take one of Nikki now. Go on, Karen, quickly before it's too late.
Nikki in her stropping now.
David, is there anything else you'd like to get out on film? Do you usually record kinky things? He's got some great old movies out there.
How did you manage to take you up so fast?
One picture of all the Legos.
No, I got it.
Okay, thank you, everybody. You missed all the fun.
It's alright, it's all on video anyway.
Okay.
Oh my word. You schmuck!
Can we have a quick leaders meeting?
Where is it? Where's it?
Right. Now.
Violence, look, violence, everybody, look. Look at this, violence.
The camera.
Violence.
That's it, what's it called for?
What's it done to you?
You can see you brought me up in sellotape and that thing, I'm complaining.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
Just pull that camera down.
What a home
Pop
movie.
if I punch you.
Oh, this.
Oh, I can stay right for it to come up. I'd gladly pick it all up.
Absolutely mental.
Watch it.
Come on, baby. Let's go.
Let's go on in your apartment. Realize they don't behave this way at home because they're afraid of breaking things.
No, go away!
The wrestle, the struggle continues.
Always.
Somebody scratch you.
They're making friends again.
I could sell this in Soho, you know.
3, 4, 5 adverts for Jackie Mason.
I'm immature. I'm immature.
Push a cord down. Look on the other side here.
I'm just reading this article about women congregations for prayer. Why is it against halakha for women not to say come? Women that aren't
We have 2 games planned. One's a wide game.
Sounds like hair, this does.
And one's a simulation game. Nicola and Stephen are playing. So what we're going to do, I'd like to each side put their case.
Court case.
First, I call upon.
The music.
Operetta.
Operetta.
B7.
Can we use evidence?
Operetta.
Mr. Gary.
I've got your top caught on my earring. Help!
Oh my God!
Look!
What do we get freezing outside?
The question is, in my opinion, that we need to make a decision later on this afternoon. Why do we have to make one now? Why do we have to make one now? Why do we have to make one now?
What did they put in David's lunch today?
That is not the question. We are discussing the white game or the simulation game. Please let us stick to the point. Let us stick to the point. Let us stick to the point.
Oh my God! Who's going to circumcise the point? Let us stick. Let us stick.
Very crude, very crude, very crude. Let us Oh, we must say, why do we have to make a decision now? Why do we have to make a decision now? Why do we have to make a decision?
Repetition!
Later! You're a typical Jew, not now, but later! Not now, but later, later, later!
Mañana, mañana!
Mañana, mañana, mañana! The problem
These
is...
people are crazy, that's what I say. The leader is Luthor.
They are crazy! What about you? You don't even know the words to the song that you are singing!
It is my right. How dare you question my right to make a fool out of myself?
Right! Is it right what you have done by leaving your country and coming to live in your farm? Now let's not get into that now. We must stick to the point. We must stick to the point. Oh my God, who's going to do the circumcision?
It has been said that living in Ilford and committing suicide is redundant.
Anyway, let's do something.
Hold on, we haven't heard Miss Maya.
Shall we take a vote on it? Do we need to make a decision now or later?
Now.
No.
This is the first meeting I've ever attended. We've done it operable.
You like that? You like that?
Before we make a decision, let the boy speak. Did you want something?
Please remember your video recorder.
don't want Ian watching this. I don't care what he sees with David and Nikki, but forget it.
We're getting into Elizabethan now.
Now everything's going to be in rhyme.
What is this?
5 minutes, we're going out for a walk. Can you get your stuff and go out for a walk?
Gary!
We're going for a walk after
Oh, no.
He's definitely.
I thought you were someone else. I don't want to.
Where?
Because David's filming me. Are you filming? Yes. You're so deep.
Wrong. 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 You swallowed the film. No.
Will it be good now? Will it be good?
Stay to the left.
Last day we went for a walk and we were shouting out petrol.
Petrol.
As Neil's with us, shall we shout out gas?
Just need staying on the left. Stay to the left.
Are we near any horses?
Well,
Oh, there's a dog round here.
what?
Surprised you remember the banana splits. This film, we were really little. Remember what they were called, the banana splits?
There was a lovely one. I remember these big
Do you remember the banana splits, Dave?
Yeah, it's right. Love watching. And big animals. Yeah, have you got
Style. Style's where a pig lives.
Why'd you go over it? Why?
What can you say, Gate? What is this all in aid of? That's not some good wood. Probably so animals come in. No, I don't know. It's one of them private property.
Action game. Oh, that's a no. That's the whole thing.
What about you saying about is coming to mind?
That's the whole
Right.
So that's tag.
Right. That's tag. That's under the
But
bed.
it's
This is.
Is it going to pair into the left hand?
We'll go through
It's
them.
fine.
We'll play them. First, we have to learn the language. We need one more game for.
Carl, we can go down the board. I know.
So we'll do wheelbarrow races for 4.
What's this?
Game for everyone.
Yeah, we're paying for everyone. The whole group.
Right.
Cat and mouse.
And the 4 go 4 wheelbarrow races and the 3 legs and Tig and Bulldog.
I have to tell you twice.
Right, just bend your knees now.
Yes.
Back tag.
It was forward. It was forward. 1, 2.
Right. Okay, who's doing back tag? Right, so you two do that.
Do that, remember. And you've got to
You don't need to do that, okay?
Right, the 4
Okay.
people.
Right, so
Right.
the 4 people.
Right.
Okay.
We're going to try that.
That's it.
Right.
No.
No.
That's fine, because he then, if he goes to somebody else and they say no, he then goes to Sarah and she goes, yes.
So do it
Right.
else first. Do it
Right.
first.
Right. And you say,
Say no.
Yeah.
Game for 2. Scissors.
And Potato. Games for 4.
What goes in?
Potato.
You know,
Stand on-
Danielle. Play some games with Danielle. Alright? Play some games with them. No, you've got to play some games with them. Sarah. I want you to go to that group, play some games with them. Okay?
What am I doing?
Well, I want you to do that. Can you do it? Still must be no talking. Still say so. You must play games. Karen, just Karen. No talking. Must be no talking. You've got to play games. Michelle. Right, I want us to play games in this group. Okay, got to play games in this group.
she explained everything that was going on, and she told everyone like what to do. Then, like the leaders in this room were starting to get hold of the idea, and they all put in ideas and helped, and like the us people, they just like agree and join in sometimes.
What happened? Okay. What? So then they built up a games bank of games, and then who's the first person to move?
Then Danielle walked in.
Okay. All right.
And Gary went straight over to her, and she caught on quite quick. She seemed to follow and join in and occasionally use her own language, which everyone ignored.
So you did miss a bit, right? Danielle, what was the first thing that happened to you when you walked in? What was the first thing that happened to you when you walked in?
I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and then what did you do? You made for the door.
Oh yeah, I was the guy.
I didn't even see Danielle come in.
Neither did I.
I noticed Michelle come in. And it wasn't until I saw Michelle and Danielle together doing something completely strange to me that I knew she was there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, carry on, please.
Right. She couldn't quite work out some of the things, but she caught on in the end. Then David took Francine out, and everyone turned to the door and wondered what was going on. Everyone was, what? Like, they all go. And they stopped for a minute, and then they carried on. And then Michelle came in, and everyone helped her. Everyone was absolutely. Everyone was just going and showing her what to do, saying sit down, join in, and she understood well. Then Danielle tried to bring one of her games in and went to do the game with Michelle. And I don't know what happened, but everyone split them up. And they wouldn't let them play together. They tried to go over to each other, and the house was going, and it was going, come here. And then Danielle started like trying to do her game, and Nicola was just like, man, don't be silly. And she said, I don't want to listen to your game. Look at my game. And she carried on. And they wouldn't let them play their game, so.
Okay, all right, Joe. What happened in the other room?
Well, everyone was playing alright, and one person went out, and they carried on as normal. So a new one comes in, which was Sarah. She came in and she was looking around. She stood still completely, and she was looking around like a really weird look on her face. Anyway, she was approached by I think it was Robert, I'm not sure. And Robert started doing his signs and everything to start it off. And she started looking at him like, what's he doing? And she's doing the same thing. She's doing her signs. We're both looking at each other and just went like, yeah, like, and walked off. So then again, she's there on her own. Anyway, someone else went up to her and showed her a bit more, dominated her a bit more, and she sort of knew the game. So she started playing it. And yeah, that's okay. And then another one went out. No one really took much notice. One came in, and
Who was the second person to come in?
Francine.
Francine.
Yeah. Francine came in, and straight away, thinking about Mish went over to her.
Sorry, it's the same thing. Who are we talking about?
Sorry? No, Michelle.
Michelle
Yeah.
went over to her.
Michelle went over to her.
Right.
And straight away Francine seemed like she was more, I don't know, she knew she could adapt much quicker than Sarah could. And I started to play, they started to play alright, and she was more confident.
Okay.
But they both found it really hard, found it hard at first, especially Sarah. But Robert sort of dominated a bit more with the new ones and the rest of the people did.
Okay. Francine, what was going on in your mind when you moved, when you went into a new environment?
It was really, you feel like you're an outsider. Like you feel everyone's laughing at you, thinking, oh, what a stupid idiot. You know what I mean? Because everyone's doing their own little thing, you're just behind, trying to get what you want across. And they're just looking at you as if you're...
Okay.
And
yeah, same thing. You don't know what's going on at all. Like they're saying, like, play this game. Like, you know what they're talking about, because they've got their different actions and everything. Like, it's weird.
Okay, who else was moved? Sarah.
It was strange because you just like called me out and I didn't know what was going on or nothing. And just like.
And how did you feel when you got into the new place?
Well, I didn't understand what anyone was saying or nothing.
Okay. Did you learn any of the new language by the time I stopped the game? Had you caught on a little bit? Had you caught on a little bit to your new language at all?
I was scared to say my own language though.
You were scared to say your own language? Okay, let's hold on to that.
When I walked in every sort of crowd, I thought going to be that or something. Because I felt, you know, like they used, you know, ages and ages ago when people couldn't speak to each other, use sign language, and there's that faces sort of going to eat me up. I was so scared.
Yeah, some people didn't see me coming, so they thought I'd already known the language, and they got paid.
Okay, alright. Does anybody want to make any other comments about the game? Yes, Daniel.
When Sarah came over to me to play a game, I didn't even realise that she wasn't in my group originally. She must have been with someone else, that's why. She just adapted, really.
I found myself pushing Danielle away. Because I was trying to ask her if she wanted to play a game, and she was looking at me as if to say, what are you talking about? And I tried about 3 or 4 times, and after that I sort of looked around for somebody that I knew would know what I was talking about.
What I did with Danielle is Luann and I played toe tag with Danielle watching, and I was telling her to watch. I was pointing at mine, telling her to watch, and then she sort of went yeah like that, and then we started playing the game, and then she wanted me to play one of her games, which happened to be one of our games as well.
That's right. There was a common game, toe tag, which is quite interesting.
It's funny because
the next one was
with Michelle, I sort of asked her to play, and she played, but I then asked her if she had a game, you know, and she couldn't understand what I was saying.
All right. Nikki, Ninja.
When Francine came over to me, she suddenly made an action which showed me that it was the same game as we knew this, the scissors one, as though we had a common language and we could talk.
Okay, all right. John.
I think I forgot to mention, when both girls were together, they actually found each other that they were in the same group at first. They both sat down and they started teaching the other people, the new people, their game.
Right, let's hold on to that. It's really, really important. It's really important. Okay, now, so what's this all about? Who can tell me what? It's all right. So we just spent the last hour, probably no, 45 minutes doing it. What's it all about?
Is this something to do with, say, go to a different country and you're like the only English person and everyone else is talking Spanish and you don't understand a word of it and they're trying to help you to understand. Then someone else from England comes in and you're talking to them and you're showing them like how you talk and
okay. It's along the right lines. Along the right lines. I'm looking for something a bit more specific.
It could be like if you just like feeling what it'd be like if you were down, trying to get through to.
Okay. No, it's not. I'm not trying to get at that. It's a nice try. It could be. That could be. We've done that actually. We've used this sort of thing for that as well. But it's not this time. I'm not trying to get at that.
And it's like we did something the other day in the cricket stop when like we were all Jewish and there was one person who wasn't and they didn't understand what was going on.
Right. Okay, so we're getting warm now. We're getting warm.
Is it some kind that happens can't use God?
Who's they?
Like the Bible. Because they never
No. Bit more close to home.
struggle.
No. Okay. Let me ask you a question. In this room, we have 23 Jewish people living in Gants Hill, Chigwell, wherever. All right? Or wherever we're living around London. Okay? Is that an agreed? We can agree on that one? Okay. Right. How many of us had grandparents or great-grandparents that came from either Russia or Poland? Okay. Can you put your hand up? Right, that you know of. So that's probably about 3/4, maybe 7/8 of people here. Okay, that's most of us here. Okay. Do you know where your great-grandparents came, where you're originally from? Luann? Okay. Do you know Sarah? Okay, alright. Who else didn't put their hand up? Okay. Are they from somewhere else? Where are they from?
Well, they were originally going back like 9 generations from Spain.
No, I'm talking about the last 100 years.
Last 100 years.
Holland.
England.
Holland and Russia.
Okay, so sort of Europe.
Yeah.
Okay. How did they get here? Well, why did they come over?
It was the depression in Russia. It was a time when there was a civil war going on in Russia, and the Jews were being persecuted, and they wanted to get out to try and give their children a fresh start in life. So they wanted to go through the troubles that they went through.
Okay. Well, let's keep it general here. Who's seen Fiddler on the Roof? Okay? What happened to fit on the roof? What happened to fit on the roof?
They'll go out.
Why? They go out.
Because there's the Russians.
Please, on one conversation, I want you to concentrate. It's really German. So, what happened when they got here? They couldn't communicate very well. Okay? Does everybody know about that?
Yeah.
Couldn't communicate. Our great-great-grandparents, probably, I'm making a big assumption here, but I'm shitting, I think it could be correct, couldn't speak English. Couldn't speak English. All they could speak was Yiddish, per se. My great-great-grandparents, I'm sure it's very similar with all yours, came over here. And what happened? Let's think of the game. Let's think of the game. What happened when they went into a new environment? Confused. Okay.
They have to get accustomed.
They have to get accustomed to the surroundings. Okay. What happened when the second person went in? They paired up and had someone to communicate with. They formed their own community. Right? You understand? In here and inside. Luan, come on, wake up, sit up. They formed their own community. Now, if we'd have played that game for another half an hour, what do you think would have happened to those two people? Let's just take a guess.
We've learned the symbols, the things that the other people are doing.
They'd have learnt a new language. That could have happened. Or what could have else happened?
They'll get friendly.
Yes, get friendly and learn a new language. What else could have happened?
If you send more than one over from one place, then they could sort of stick together. You could find two and separate them, doing their own games, maybe.
Right, so they'd go off and do their own thing. Because I saw, when I walked into the two groups, the new people being laughed at. Right? Michelle was really scared and people were laughing at her. Okay? Now think about the experience of our great-grandparents in that. Okay? They're coming to a strange country. They can't really speak the language. They don't know the customs. They might have something in common with English people like toe tag, okay? That's what I'm using as an example. In which case they could get by. But they had to learn a whole new culture and a whole new way of life. Now, question is in all this, here we are, say 100 years later, right? Are we English? Where is our English culture? And where is our Jewish culture? What have we lost over the period of the half an hour, okay, in inverted commas, between, do you understand what I'm saying? Between like the half an hour we didn't carry on playing the game. Have we just become totally assimilated into English society, right? Or do we carry on playing our own games? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, we're using it as an example. So.
I think if you'd have carried on for another half hour, this group would have learned that group's games, and that group would have learned this group's games.
Who agrees with that? Who disagrees with that? What do you think would have happened?
Either they would have gone off, as you said, on their own, or if they were a lot stronger, they would have taught them completely. And they would, like the two people would have sat down and they would have persevered and taught the new people.
My question is, what's happened in reality? What's happened in real life?
We've assimilated.
We've assimilated. Have we all assimilated?
No.
Who hasn't assimilated? Very religious people. Okay? That's okay.
Depends what you mean by assimilation.
Okay. Right.
What degree?
What do you say?
It depends what you mean. By assimilation, you mean that somebody has totally forgotten their roots and where they come from, or whether somebody's able to get on with the people that they live with, but still retains their own culture.
Right. So there are some people who are living in Stamford Hill with long black coats and long beards and big hats, who dress the same as my great-great-great-great-grandfather did in Poland 100 years ago, or like they did in Fiddler on the Roof, right? They still exist, they still maintain their community. Has anybody ever been to Stamford Hill?
Yeah.
Right? Have you seen the very Orthodox Jews, the way they dress? They keep themselves to themselves, they're their own community. They more or less haven't changed, apart from the advent of Volvo cars. They haven't changed. Okay? But we have changed. We dress very differently. We don't dress in well, I don't consider this particularly Jewish dress. Does anybody?
Not really, David.
Apart from that. Do you consider this Jewish dress at all? So okay, so let's now go back to Nikki's point. If we take away the dress, what have we kept? What have we kept? What have we kept from the shtetl in Russia and Poland from 100 years ago? What have we still got, say? What have we still got?
Their teachings, their traditions. Well, one of the guys was saying...
Have we still got them?
Yeah.
Well, alright, explain a little bit more. Like what?
Like going... No, like lighting the candles, going to shul on high holidays, going Friday nights, for mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs.
Okay. Right.
We've got this, like we've all come away this weekend to know what it's like about being Jewish.
Too clever. Right.
That's like the foods, like the special foods that we have, like the recipes that we pass down.
So I didn't mean to make you say it. You were right. It's really right what you said, but I want to come back to that at the end.
Like all Jewish families know how to cook like traditional food.
Right, chicken soup maybe. Okay. Kosher. Okay, what else have we got?
Like you don't have milk and meat at the same time.
Alright, and these are the intrinsic things. But I'm of the opinion, and I don't know if you share that with me, that if we were to play that game for another 2 hours, the new people would have completely forgotten where they come from. And if we translate that into real terms, let's say if in 20, 30, 40, 50 years' time, maybe our children or grandchildren will know nothing about their culture, where they come from. Question. Do you think that's true? Do you think that's true?
No. If it's lasted this many years, I'm sure it'll last on 40 to 50.
Why? What makes you say that? What makes you say that?
Well, it's still still RA at school.
That's
like, you're not
lot.
going to learn as much, but
Don't learn anything in
there'll
RA.
still be Jewish clubs around.
Have you got grandparents, Nicole? Yes, you've got grandparents. They're still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that they are more observant than you are? Or more... No, would you say that they are more traditional than you are? You personally?
Not a lot more.
Not a lot more, but a little
But a
bit.
little bit
How
more.
many people here would say that you are more observant than your grandparents? Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. Sorry? 4. That's quite a small number. Go, please. Okay. That's quite interesting. What does that say about you? About us as a sample of the community?
Shows we're trying to be like somebody else. Unconsciously we're losing our identity. I don't think it's unconsciously. I think
You think consciously?
it's like degree of it is, right?
Why'd you say that?
Because of the societies we live in, the majority of us haven't been to Jewish schools or are not at Jewish schools. We live in an English society, as I call it. So therefore we are losing it. I don't think we're actually going out of our way to, but we're not going out of our way to keep it either. So yeah, consciously we are losing it.
I don't know.
Joe, please. Can you sit up? Thank you.
I would go along with Nicola to some extent. I think that a lot of people are doing things today without knowing any reasons for doing it, and they're just going on and do it. And then when somebody turns around to them and says, "Why are you doing it?" if they haven't got an answer, then they could suddenly start thinking, "Well, why am I bothering?" And then they don't do it anymore.
Do people agree with Nikki on that?
Yes, but another token really is that there are some things that people do know about, but will consciously say, "I'm not bothering with that."
I'd like to add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think the conditions environments today, our environment today is somewhat different than it was 2 generations ago. I think it's much more accepted for people to be like everyone else. It's much more easy.
Joel, can you wake up, please?
It's much more easy to be English. And maybe 2 generations ago, it was easier for people to be more traditional because people in general stuck more to their particular ethnic or religious groups.
Alright.
So there's an additional influence.
Maybe we're sort of looking at it from the point of view of the Jewish thing and the English thing, and there's 2 things fighting together. Maybe we've created something else, something different. You know, we're English Jews, and we've got, and whatever we are, whatever we do, is that new thing. It's a synthesis of these 2 things that have come together. Maybe there isn't a conflict.
Well, what about that? What do you have to say to that? Maybe there is. Do people have a conflict between, say, being English and being Jewish? Has it ever been an issue for anyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
When has it been an issue?
So,
Why? Why?
if you go to a school like I do, where it's like, say, 95% non-Jews, then they'll find your weak spot, my weak spot was being Jewish. And they'll take it out on you as long as they can. And it causes a lot of harm for you as well as your parents, because your parents are the ones that go up to the school and try and sort it all out.
So is there So the question in that is that have you ever consciously decided, right, I'm not going to be Jewish?
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, it's happened to you sometimes.
Yeah. I've just switched off. I said that's it.
Okay. Has anybody else ever actually had to do that in their life? Say, I just can't be Jewish in this place.
So my old school, it's like there was like 80% Christian people, and I felt more Christian than Jewish, and I didn't really bother about being Jewish. But now, like, I go to a more Jewish school, it's easier.
It's a really great. I really like the film. It's got 5 school children, and they go to detention on Saturday, doing all different things they've done wrong. They both go in there. They all go in there at the beginning, not really like each other, really getting on at all. Cut a long story short, in the end they come out very, very good friends.
You could say that the story really started the day the lights first came down to Earth. It was far away, at a mountain called Sinai. Years went by, and the strange light made itself right at home in Jerusalem. It seemed that the lights always had something new to tell about doing things for other people. Like stopping for a stranger who could use some help.
Bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah. Can I be the cameraman at the bar mitzvah?
Gary Wayne!
The cameraman at the bar mitzvah.
Adam, can we have
Good evening.
I do take a seat.
Do you take a seat? No seat, Fanny, make sure it's your feet.
Neil Boosie. Blue Steve. Sorry.
Boozy.
son. Don't eat it yet. Don't eat it yet. You want. Right. First one's an apple. Right, now. Listen. There's got to be silence for this. Now listen, who's got that for your neighbour? Don't eat it yet. Right. We need quiet for this. Now, you know the little tune? Nicole! It's got to be absolute silence. The camera's got to be able to pick this up. Listen, no, please, can you stop doing that? Be quiet. Now, you know the little tune? Right? Do that with the bites of the apples, okay? You do it quite slowly. There's got to be silence when you do it. Everyone was like, wait. We've got to do it all together. We've got to do it all together in time. Right? Wait a second, so it's... On the count of 3. What's the bite to the tune? You've got a bite to the tune. Yes. Right? That's all right. Ready? It's got to be silent so you can hear it, okay? Quiet. Really quiet. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good. No.
My mouth is not big enough.
The next tune we're going to play on the apple. How much is that doggy in the window? Ready? How much is that?
I'm full now. It's been great. Thank you. Thank you all.
You're sick.
Now for a trick.
All right, we'll have the meeting in 2. Steve's going to stay up with Joel and Rob at the one. And me, Gary, and Joel and Steve going to sleep in there.
Now we're going to have a report on this, okay?
I think you should set that up in the hallway in case there's a manifestation.
Well, here we are, EBJ 1.
Can you get it up? And we're going to start, you're going to keep some with all the time.
So I'm all by myself then?
You can come in with us if you want.
Sorry, I don't know what you're saying. Are you all going in there? Or are you doing a rota?
For the meeting we're doing a rota.
Oh, I see, right.
I think it smells like getting up in the morning.
Ready, and off we go, go.
Again. Hello. My legs. Close up on the legs.
Oh, thanks, Nick. I've sat on these stairs. Yes, these stairs. Where are they? Here they are. Here's my foot.
Have you just pissed in the feed out?
Many times with different people, on the occasion of having to talk to them when they've been really noisy, very early hours in the morning. But never, ever have I sat here after a night like this. Because what the film doesn't show is some amazing scenes of mass hysteria, dare I say it quietly, panic. And here we have Robert Mattison, who calmly dealt with the whole situation. We dealt with the whole situation.
No.
No, Robert.
Nothing wrong with a good, healthy pair of
Spontaneous human combustion, does it occur?
Sorry?
Gentlemen, I thank you.
Reminder for this evening.
So, what have we got on tonight? Proceedings.
So, hang on.
We're interviewing.
Stay with them a while and then it'll come and get you, and then we'll send someone else to stay.
Are you meeting you?
And then
house psychologist who deal with the whole situation well. Oh well, Neil, what have you got to say about tonight?
When we're meeting, sorry.
What can I say?
Lounge, I suppose.
So who's going to, so whoever's in that group, can they go up to the thing?
How? Do you want me to do it?
Well, just go up to the thing, yeah. Just,
Nicole, no, there's a reason. Nicole, please. Well, then you will sit there and nobody will stand over there and say anything.
Is yours I'll do it.
No, Daniel.
Come on, Nick.
Just want to do it, okay? Just doesn't want to do it.
No.
Danielle.
Right, being Jewish means having friends who care and understand you, and your religion. I've got Jewish friends and everything. In your community, and like there's so much togetherness and everything. Keeping the culture home, it was part of being Jewish. I will forget number 3.
Painting your nails and wearing over the top.
That came because I was just thinking of sitting in shul, and the typical thing of looking in shul and seeing the ladies come out afterwards, they always seem to have purple nails and well over the top, hats and dresses. That's just my opinion.
Fine,
I think
okay.
that's 3 times a year.
No, yeah.
That's not right. You didn't clarify that point, Gary.
This thing show yearly, it's very holy and everything. Tradition, like you feel. Oh yeah, or living there, emigrating there. Everyone feels together and like you feel really Jewish at the mitzvahs and weddings, that's tradition. We all suffer together at Yom Kippur and everything we fast.
That's the best part of being Jewish.
Jewish people rush things when they should be taking it easy. We do what we believe is right, like on the other side of the picture. We go with what we think is right. Oh yeah, Jews have good bits as well as bad bits. And being Jewish is being yourself, and being Jewish is many other things that carry on and on and on.
Okay, I understand. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
Yeah. Is that, I don't know what number it is, but the rushing when you can take things easy, is that referring to Shabbat?
I think that it's referring to absolutely everything. It's just a thing which we're meant to be a bit light-hearted. You know, you always the stereotype of the Jew rushing around. Let's make it a little bit more easy.
You said it's a Jewish trope that people tend to
rush, do this, do that. Everything's got to be done now, not yesterday. Rather, everything's got to be done yesterday.
It's that, isn't it?
It's hand movements.
Yeah, it's that, isn't it?
No, actually, so it's picking up on something you just said there. Everything's going to be done today. Is it because we're not sure what tomorrow's going to bring?
Oh, I had a late night last night.
We're in the shtetl and, we've got to make sure that, the house is clean today because tomorrow there may be a pogrom.
Yeah, but yesterday we never
On the other hand, the chef might come tomorrow.
Did we?
Sorry?
You never know what's going to happen next morning. None of us knew what was going to happen last night and it just happened. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
We're talking about Jewish way of life here.
Something that happened that we didn't know was going to happen.
They think there's both sides of it in Judaism. That there's always a search to get things done and rush around, and there's also the exact opposite. Listen, we'll meet about 8 or 8ish.
The
Jewish mean time idea.
Yeah. You heard of that, Jewish mean time?
Say we get back at 4 o'clock, we usually get back at
4 o'clock, all thereabouts. They think that's an essential part of Judaism, that there's these opposites going on all the time. We have these contradictions.
But then isn't that because we're always trying to pack so much in?
Sorry, I lost something. Sorry, what are you saying?
I said, isn't that because we're always trying to pack so much in?
Yes, it's possible. It's possible. Okay, let's have the next group, which is the one group. I forgot what it's called.
The van.
Laverne. Okay, Daniel, sit down now.
What's that here?
If you want.
No.
You'll be able to see what's written up there.
Right. Being Jewish is warmth. Right? There's a certain amount of warmth we've all got. Like being Jewish. Community, we're all in community together. We maintain traditions, we keep up religion traditions. There's a belief in God. We got oh yeah, there's being religious when you're doing actions like you go to shul and you kosher home, but really it's all about being truthful, what's in yourself and not what's on the outside. Heritage is what's happened like years ago. There's a sign to carry on, like with the weekend, we're carrying it on for our children for years to come. Security, there's a amount of security between all of us. Love thy neighbour. Treat others how you want to be treated yourself. That's in a lot of religions. And being Jewish is enjoy being Jewish. Being Jewish is enjoying it. And it's all like one big family. We work together.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Quite clear.
What knows Robbery? Oh, that's Jewish. Jonathan.
Yeah, I have a question. What do you mean by heritage? How far do you go back? Do you mean you've got some point where you stop, or you actually go right the way back to
What? It doesn't. It's heritage. Doesn't matter where you start or stop. I don't think you have to put a definition on it where you start and where you stop. I think it's quite fascinating that the Polish bit, and it's also quite fascinating the stuff before that, the medieval stuff, and the stuff that's in Israel, right? Future. Anybody else have any questions? Joel, can you just expand what you meant by the love thy neighbour bit? Being Jewish is love thy neighbour.
Yeah, like caring for others, you know, loving each other. It gives you, give people some security, you know, by showing them you care. That's how I feel. Is part of being Jewish. Is by loving your neighbour and having a good relationship with people.
What do you class as your neighbour?
I'm 17. No, just friends, family. You know, literally everyone at club. Like the community club we have.
Just Jews or everyone?
Sorry?
Just Jews or anybody?
Oh, in a case, no, obviously everyone in here. Other people in the world as well, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you explain that to the world? I mean, can you explain that, say, to Israel? Israel should love its neighbours.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yeah, if there was ways of people stopping in Israel and trying to understand.
First of all, the theme of Jewish religion in society. Jewish religion to us is very strong, and brings me swiftly on to the second point of the Jewish way of life. Jewish way of life for us started in Israel, being half of us killed by the Romans, half of us slaves, being taken all over Western Europe to places like Poland and Russia. That's where the beginning comes into it, and we were expanding. Then there was the theme of Jewish identity, knowing who you are and what you stand for in life. And where it is to need it, come back to the video about the lights with the man who was walking around with the two Greeks, and the other kept on flashing his shoulder, and he was saying, "Come on, give me a break." But for him, it's always going to be there.
there's nothing that he can do to shrug it off. And then we changed the subject completely and talked about the Torah as a guide to behaviour and morals. The Torah is written basically for us, but in society and basically in Israel there's different sects which use the Torah as guidelines but change it in ways that makes them adapt to what they do. Jewish unity under pressure, well, let Rob explain what Jewish unity under pressure is. Rob.
Just the idea that a lot of Jews won't do anything particularly Jewish, maybe won't identify with being Jewish, unless put under pressure, which is maybe a negative response to being Jewish. Well, like in Israel, when there's a war, suddenly all the divisions are forgotten between the religious and the non-religious, between Ashkenazi and Sephardi. There's a war, there's a pressure put on from the outside.
Jewish people and non-Jewish people can't communicate as well as like two Jews because they haven't got the same background. They don't understand the same as religion. There's no different lives.
And the last thing we talked about was my favourite subject, Loction Soap. Now, Rob started talking about, he said that I got married out for, what was the reason, Rob?
In the end, the reason would probably be that if I was to live with someone for the rest of my life, there'd have to be something so deeply in common that there wouldn't be with a non-Jewish person. I'm not saying I couldn't love a non-Jewish person, but there wouldn't be that. There'd be that gap. It's the gap again. There'd be that they wouldn't be Jewish. They wouldn't understand something that for me is essential, it's fundamental for me.
And then I come up with the final words, which were.
Well, say what you're saying.
They could get to understand. We could teach them. We could.
Yeah. Well, we know which group we're going to put you in a minute. That's all.
I closed the whole topic up by saying that the reason I got married out is because you can't get decent biological sleep on Friday night, and that closed the whole topic. So the meaning of.
Right. Thank you. I have a question to ask, and that is, what do you mean by what do you mean?
What recipe would you use for loction soup?
I was going to say that. Are you saying that the Aleph in the film, when he said "get away," is saying that you can never run away from your Jewish identity?
I don't think that if you marry out, there's always going to be something inside you that it doesn't matter how hard you try and shrug it up, it's always going to be there.
Okay.
And it's the way of life. You just have to accept that it's there.
Okay, thanks, Robert.
I just wanted to tie in some things together. The movie last night.
So, what?
What should I? Okay, obviously this little Aleph means identity. Identity can mean a lot of things. Yesterday, what? What? Yeah. Pass it around. To some people, it's an experience in shul. To others, it's doing things together with Jewish friends. To some people, it's Israeli dancing, or it's going to trips in Israel, or a memorable Passover Seder with your family. The important thing to say is that our Jewish identity encompasses so many different things. It's almost hard to even know where to begin. You know, one Greek said to the other last night on the film, those lights, they make them different. They separate them from other people. Now, one thing that we should discuss, if there's some time, or perhaps you did, I don't know, is it good to be different? Is it good that these lights separate us from other people? Is it worth preserving those lights, this identity that we have? On one hand, you can say, well, we've got it, we can never get rid of it. And I honestly believe that that's true. That this little Aleph is around us. No matter what we do, it's part of us. It's in us, it's around us. Many times other people perceive it, even though we try to hide it. But That little olive can shrivel away and disappear out of neglect. If not with you personally, then with your children. Because we need a way of passing that on to the next generations. But again, is it worth saving? And if you can't answer that question, then you have to say, well, I've got to find out more about what that identity is. And all that that encompasses. One person yesterday asked me, had the courage to say, what are you doing here? It was the day before yesterday. Why did you come? And she meant that, not just on the weekend, but why am I here at all in Redbridge? I was sent by Israel to share my world with all of you. And also to explain that it is not my world, it's your world. I'd like to show you that. Whether we're talking about Israel specifically, or very, very generally an important aspect of our Jewish identification. Now obviously, for those of you who won't come to Israel, at least I would like to bring a little of it back here. It's another aspect of our identity that's not necessarily related to our religious practices. It's part of our cultural, nationalistic side. Just one of the many facets. Did I miss something here? Look, there's two things that I want to say. First of all, you all belong. You all belong to the Jewish people. You're all card-carrying members of the Jewish people. That little olive is flying around all of you. And the other thing I want to say is that that's very, very significant. Going back to the question, is it worth keeping? Now, obviously, I feel, and as you can hear from what I'm saying, it is worth keeping. It's very, very important. As a people, we've played a very, very significant part in humanity. We have been involved in human affairs for many thousands of years. We've contributed, all of humanity, especially the Western civilization, has been affected to the good by our presence on the face of the world. And that's what I'm saying about our civilization. Now, when I talk to all of you as individuals, I can only say this. Each and every one of you people here today is important. You're extremely important. I don't think any of you know how important you are. You're precious to the future of our people. Now, you're important as individuals. I don't want to in any way give you an idea that I'm not relating to that.
We have, we've got 5, can you let Samantha sit down? We have 5 different groups with all different questions to ask people. What we're going to do is one person asks the rest of the people here the questions. Obviously you have to make a note of how many yeses, how many no's, and whatever the main question is at the end. Alright? Is there anyone who's desperately anxious to start?
Can I just say something? Can I just say, do we count?
Well, actually, I tell you what, perhaps we can sort of go around and find out what sort of topics we have.
Can I just say, do we count?
No. What topics have you got here? Karen, what is your questionnaire on?
Israel.
On Israel? Michelle, what is your questionnaire on?
Disability.
Sexism. Sexism? Yeah. Claire?
Blasphemy, really.
Racism, is it?
Yeah,
uh-huh.
Intermarriage.
Intermarriage. Right, that's a nice wide range of topics. And is there anybody there burning to find out what other people find to know about there? Right, okay. So let's take our first survey here on intermarriage.
Just answer yes or no.
Who are you asking the question to?
All of you.
No.
Just put your hand down.
Okay, right.
Would you be willing to change your religion for marriage? No. No. Right, all those who say no. It's all for right, so. Would your parents mind you bringing home a long jacket? Friends, yes or no? Just a friend.
Oh, no.
No. You say no.
But confused with
Yes
this.
or no? Not really. Would you?
I think in this case we're actually
Would
talking
your
more towards
parents?
boyfriend-girlfriend situation.
Oh,
No, they would be concerned.
Yeah, they would.
So all those who say yes, they would take home laundry?
No.
Sure.
No.
Okay, Question number 6. Hang on. Question number 6. Does public transport run on Shabbats? Put your hand up for yes. Put your hand up for yes.
Talking
Are
about
you
Israel.
talking
Yeah,
Israel?
yeah.
Oh.
Put strawberries. No.
You can test me right then.
Has Israel any seas in it?
Seas.
As in wet seas, okay?
Yeah.
Hand up for yes, not in capital C.
Yeah.
Or no.
I would like it. No, ask everybody at the same time. Okay. And then you count up.
Right. Understand.
Why don't you understand?
Right.
Right.
Would you?
That's why it's that's the only reason I suggest it's easier doing like that, because it doesn't really matter.
Right. Would
Anyway.
you speak to a mentally handicapped person?
Okay, come in. All the yeses. Ask for all the yeses, then ask for all the no's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. If one of your close friends, like a really close friend, had a serious accident and he or she became physically handicapped, like they lost a leg, they couldn't speak properly, would your relationship still be as close as it was before?
Yes.
Or do you reckon you'd just depart?
Yes.
Yes. Where's that?
Yeah.
Or closer. Right. Do you feel that the expense spent for widening doors and making ramps for wheelchairs is necessary?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I just say one thing, just interrupt for a minute, is think about your own answer. Think about what's important to you. Don't necessarily go with what everybody else says. Think about yourself, what's in your heart.
Right. You're out with your school friends and you see a disabled school friend. Would you acknowledge that you know them in front of your friends, or would you just walk past and...
Oh no, I'd say that now.
You would?
So,
Yeah. Right, a blind person is having problems getting on an escalator. There are lots of people around, but no one seems to be bothering to help. Would you help?
yes.
Yeah. Was nicht aus der Gegend noch wohl.
Right, you help a physically disabled centre and you strike up a special relationship with a member of the opposite sex. Would you pursue it, or would you...
Because they're just as in a way normal as that.
Physically.
Yeah.
Physically.
If they're in a wheelchair or if they were mental or something, do you reckon you...
That is really
That
hard.
doesn't-
Oh no, physically. Then I would pursue it. If it was
Yeah.
mentally, then I wouldn't.
Doesn't make any difference if they're physical. If they're mentally, I think it
It's very hard if they're mentally.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
I would. Yeah.
You would?
I would if it was
And
physical.
Alright, say one minute. Say physically.
I strongly believe that you have to be
Would you?
a trained person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would you?
One at
Get
a
on
time.
with it.
One at a time.
First kid?
Would you know what I pursue?
Yeah, if they were physically.
No.
Yes. What do you mean? Would I go out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
would you, like,
If I feel
build up a
really...
relationship with them?
Oh yeah.
Well, do you want to do mentally as well and split your box into two?
Do you believe that men and women are equal? Those who say yes, put their hands up. So hold on.
Did you answer?
And you say no, you don't believe they're equal. Right. Do you think that men should have more responsibilities than women do? This is yes. You say yes.
Hold on.
Do you
Depends
believe?
what responsibilities.
Well, do you believe that men should have more responsibilities?
What responsibilities?
I don't
It's
know.
a general question.
Yeah, in
Is it
general.
expected that men should have more responsibility than a woman?
You just said they, but you just said you didn't think they are equal.
Yeah, but their responsibilities are equal.
So who says yes, you do think men should have more responsibility? You'll say no.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that a girl can pay for a boy, like if they go out for dinner, you think it would feel like for a girl to pay for it? Who says yes?
I know.
Two say yes and two say no. Right. You've got to put yourself in this person's position, right?
If you were Rob Lewis,
Who's who?
Rob Lewis, person for the garage. If you were Rob Lewis, would you have employed Charlie? No. Yeah. So you say yes.
I'm not a man now.
If you were a man.
Put yourself in my position.
Would I want a house husband? No.
There would have to be no to that question, but if it was phrased differently, I would probably say yes.
Well, it's not for starter.
Next
That's a question.
No, definitely not.
Well, it's all
Next
over.
question.
No.
What would you say?
No.
Do you think men are more sexist than women?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should the person asking the question put their own answers down? No?
No, because they already own,
So you get full, you get everyone's answer. Yeah.
Do you? After the house.
No. No.
Bill's answer.
That's a good one.
No, that's not your answer.
That's not ours.
That's a good definition of people.
With regards to the sex.
No, I don't go for a laugh. EBJ, and something else.
Would your parents mind you bringing home a non-Joe?
Yes.
No, I think so.
What if
You're serious?
Let's just have yes or no. Just a general question, would your parents mind you bringing home a non-Jew?
No.
Okay.
No, they sound.
Yeah, same. Not this age, no.
Who's that? You yes or no?
2 years, 2 now.
Two. Yes. So you're 2 yeses, 2 no's. Okay. Do you know which is which in the box? That's yes and that's no. That's yes. That's no. Yeah. So we put yes. No. So I'll go with the choice.
Would you mind your children, grandparents, not being Jewish?
Would you mind?
Would you mind your children's grandparents not being Jewish?
Let's say a mum.
No, that means.
Oh,
The person you marry,
the other side.
let's say they convert, they're considered Jewish, but they come from a non-Jewish family, obviously.
Would I mind?
Yes.
Would you mind?
If the person asks the way men and women at this particular moment in time are not equal, or is it the way you feel?
I'll give you an example. The executive stress. Do you ever seen that?
What is it? A program on TV?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Has anyone ever seen executive stress?
Yeah.
Right, the man and the woman, husband and wife, run a business. They are both equal managers. But he always has to be the one, sit in the middle, be higher, tell people what to do, employ whoever. But they're equal, they have got exactly the same job. And she's always saying, what, this isn't exact.
Okay, so
Still
how does she
why
react to
should
that?
you be the one?
So she actually questions
Why
it.
is it me? Why should you be the one when we're having a meeting to sit in the middle? Why aren't I the one?
So he's in fact overpowering her.
Trying to.
Because maybe he can't accept the fact that she has an equal position with him. And so consequently he's trying to get that one much over. Fine.
Which is real.
So what you're saying is because of that, in your mind, men and women are not equal.
Yeah.
Do you feel that men and women should be equal?
Yeah.
You do?
Oh. In some ways and in some ways not.
Why? What way is this?
One of some instances, yeah.
Is it because like you're all used for your mum to stay at home and
My use for what?
like you know, like whole family, mum stays at home with the children, father goes out to work.
I don't agree with that. My relationships.
Yes.
1 year studies now.
Right, what happens if we do this?
Okay, Les, when you finish, let's go back in the lounge. All right? Is that on?
Come on. Nick, don't be silly, love.
Right, it's on.
Recording now, so recording now.
Nick, can I have a quick go?
Don't know me.
After you. Don't record. Just go on, please.
We've got 1 minute. 2 minutes recording.
Girls to pay for men. If you were Rob Lewis in Neighbours, would you have been afraid to show them? Is it alright for boys to show their emotions by crying? If you were a man, would you be a house husband? Are women, do women think it's right for women to look after the house? Like this, women only. Women only.
Oh, we can see the results. Yeah.
And it's just what your sex is in.
Can you read it out?
There's stereotypes of men with a disabled centre and strike up a relationship with a member of the opposite sex. Would you pursue it if they were physically handicapped?
Right.
I thought a lot of people would say no because of the fact that they're different, but there's quite. There's like 9 yeses
Right.
and 3 no's.
Right. Okay. Claire and Luann, please. Could you come and sit over here so you can see what's going on? It's really impossible for you to do anything. Person in the corner.
Also, question 8. You work in a clothes shop and the sight of a mentally disabled person sickens you, but you're the only sales assistant and a mentally disabled person comes in. Do you serve them?
Right, what was it?
Whereas in the back of the other group, my group, they all said they're still serving.
What is the overall thing? It's quite low.
Yeah.
So not many people would.
No.
So there's.
In my group.
So you think? Do you think? Can you?
Yes. The general trends on the questions and answers is that more people were getting the correct answers about the actual people within Israel. But when it came to questions like geography and little bits of history and things like that, more people were getting stuff wrong. What was quite interesting is the question 10, which was where would you look up stuff about the history of Israel. The main subject, the main areas which all the stuff came into was religious books like the Bible, 5 books of Moses, whatever. General Israel history books and encyclopedias. And what was interesting was somebody came up with holiday brochures to find out about the history of Israel. Quite surprising, shouldn't you? Whoops. Well, that's it. There's questions on it.
I'd just like to add, I coloured in the blue.
And Joel, I think you said you found something quite peculiar with a couple of questions.
In the first one.
Yeah.
Which is what's the question?
There's the changing of the marrying someone else, whether you would or not, is question 1, and what people said yes, or people said no. And this one was whether you'd let your parents would let non-Jew go into your home. You can see the number of people you would.
Grandparents.
Yeah, that's the one that was grandparents. Would you allow your grandparents? Would you like your children to have non-Jewish grandparents?
No, isn't it?
Right. What was your group?
Racism.
Racism. Okay. Would you conclusions you drew from asking people questions this morning? No? No conclusions?
No, not really. A lot of people are very racist and they don't even realise it.
A lot of people...
Oh yeah, one side.
Come back to that, sir.
Alright. So someone said in my group, the question 10, that something about an invitation, like being racist, like if you got parts of it, we write the Jewish invitations first, like we wrote a Jewish invitation and we wrote a Christian invitation out.
Like that. You got a. It's just a form of racism.
Okay. What did you say, Danielle?
People, I think everybody's racist, but they don't even realise it. They don't even realise they're doing it.
Who agrees with Danielle on that? Who doesn't agree with Danielle? Who doesn't agree with Danielle? So everybody here agrees that everybody's racist. Is that right?
Hey, it's only a form of racism.
Sorry?
There's a funny phrase he said. Like, Robert said, she said something about Packy, so he said, with his Dan on the end.
Thank you very much, everybody. Now,
after this, we're going straight to church.
Not quite. Okay. Yeah, sorry to make it rush and everything, but we'll be a bit delayed. Now, what I would like to do is two things, but you're doing it at the same time. On Friday, on the coach going down here, I gave out some questionnaires that I asked you to fill in on your way down here for a project that I'm doing at college, and you very kindly did that. I'm asking you if you wouldn't mind doing a similar one now, with similar questions in it. Some of them are a bit different, but not only will it be not just for my project, I want you to do it for yourself, right? So that you're just able to put down a couple of sentences on paper about some of the things that have come up. It's quite clear. That shouldn't take more than about 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to come back together, just perhaps share a little bit of it, and yes, and then we'll finish off. Now, I'm just going to quickly run through what we did, in case your memory is completely blanked off. Right, we arrived on Friday, we did some getting to know you games, including the famous, now very famous shoe game, etc, etc. We then went inside for supper, Kabbalah Shabbat, where Gary taught us a couple of songs. We then had supper, we then did futsal, which was about introducing each other, and then we did, one of the leaders went into role as a non-Jewish person, you remember? And you had to tell them about being Jewish. Then we did from creation to today, right, starting off with the creation and the relaxation, and then going through the different Bible bits, Adam and Eve and Noah, right up to the story of Jacob and a bit of the wrestling. We then had a sing-song on Oneg Shabbat, Saturday night. Sorry? Friday night, yes. Saturday breakfast, then we had the Shabbat morning. We did the preparation and the drama and the readings. And then we went back into, we had a service. We then went back into futsal, and we talked about struggle and adolescent struggle, teenage struggle, and what that might mean. We then had lunch. Then some of us, most of us, went out for a walk after lunch. Came back from the walk, and we then did the communications game in two groups. Came back, looked at what the relevance of the communications game was to us, about assimilating into a new society. Okay, remember that? And then, after the communications game, we then made Havdalah here, remember? Made Havdalah with the Havdalah candle. Then we showed lights, and then we had supper, and then we had a little incident after supper. I can't quite remember what it was all about. Something like that. That sort of took up most of last night. And then we showed the Breakfast Club. This morning we did, we went into futsal first of all. What did we do? Oh, we talked about what does Jewish identity mean, and some of the groups actually looked at the film Lights and the Other. And then we came back here and shared some of our feelings about that. And then we did the issues thing where we took 5 different issues. You went and prepared a questionnaire, you went back, came back, did a thing, presented. Phew! And we did that all in one weekend, can you believe it? Okay, right. Thank you.